So the next step is to get the data into a JSON format. To do that, in a script area, we want to create an array. Remember, we talked about arrays that contains the objects, the key value pairs, so name, Austin, population 842. We have 3 elements in the array that represent each of the 3 cities and their population. So I'm going to grab this and put this in the HTML. And I'm going to put it just below the HTML that we've been using, but above where the body closes. So now we've got our data inside the site. We want to be able to add IDs for these numbers. We already have the class equal number for each paragraph, but each one needs a unique ID. And so I've just named it bar text. And so I'll do bar text 0, 1, and 2 for each one of these items that we have. So for the number, class equal number, it's going to be bar text 0 and bar text 1. Change this to, and bar text 2. And this is going to allow us to use get element by ID to actually populate it with what is in our JSON area here, our script. Now we already have name 0, name 1, and name 2 established for the city here, and we'll be able to take these out ultimately so that it can populate with whatever city name we want it to pull from the JSON. So now the next thing we need to do in the script is change the element at name 0 to reflect what is in the city's array at point 0 with .name. And then we want to be able to get the population, and then we want to style the width of the bar with the get element by ID as well. We're going to assume, in this case, that 1,000 people equals 1 pixel. You'll have to make some assumptions depending on the data that you're working with. So I'm going to take this and put it inside our script. Now this one is only going to work for Austin at first. So let's see if we get it to work, and then we'll move on to doing it for all 3 of them. If we remove the numbers and the word for Austin, we should now be able to see it pulling from the JSON instead of from the HTML, and we are seeing that now, so that we know that that is working. But this is only for Austin, so how do we have it go through all 3? We actually need to create a for loop, so we're going to use the looping technique that you learned, and we're going to create a loop that's going to go through the entire city's array. So it's going to go through for the length of the array, it's going to go through one by one, and it is going to find the element that is at the name of the position I, so 0, 1, and 2. It's going to find the population for 0, 1, and 2, and then it's going to apply a width for the width of the bar for 0, 1, and 2. So instead of what we had there, I'm just going to take this script with the for loop and replace it, because this will go through and do it for everyone. And what I'm going to do now is remove the numbers and the cities, again for Fort Worth and for Lubbock, so that we can make sure that it's pulling from the JSON when we do it. So let's save this and refresh. And it is indeed pulling from the JSON information here. So good, we have a chart, and if I were to go in and change something in the JSON, like maybe we need to update this to 1,000, there's 1 million people in Austin, we should be able to automatically have that update itself, and it does, so that's great. Let's put it back to what it originally was. We'll have some relatively correct data and consistent data from the census period that we used. Okay, so that's great. We've actually pulled data from a JSON array into a chart. And again, we could stop right here. We have a nice chart, we can read it, we can actually pull things in from a data set. But there's some other things we might want to do to make the chart a little bit more interactive.